Oh, and we are live here. Bike at the Pigskin, brand new edition here on this Thursday night. Just got finished watching that Cardinals vs Packers game, which ended in some fucked up fashion. I'm not gonna lie, that was a crazy ending. Um, but I'm Sean, aka Swank Soul. I'm joined here today by the Vlad, Hazi, Hazalam alaikum. What up, brother?
Yes, sir. You already know what it is. TPS game.
What's good? What's good? We here on a Thursday night. I guess we could talk a little bit about this game that just ended, considering it was such a good game. But I guess the main point of this episode, we definitely got to get into this Florida Georgia game that's happening in T minus 2 days. So we'll definitely get into a lot of that talk. We'll talk maybe a little bit about Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, a few games. But let's start off right here with this Packers Cardinals game. Had the sole uh, remaining undefeated team, the Cardinals, taking on the 6-1 Packers. Um, it was a game that went down to the wire, as we all just saw. Go ahead and tell me what you said about AJ Green right before we went live, and just the type of player that he was. Not that he's a bad player, but
Yeah, not that in any way. I mean, he should be a Hall of Fame receiver when it's all said and done. God willing, now he's on the Cardinals. They can make a run in the playoffs. He should be able to put up another couple years with 1,000+ yards in this league and induct himself in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, his strong suit never, like his IQ never was the best in Cincinnati. Uh, he had great chemistry with Dalton, and he had a great surrounding cast of receivers to help him when it came to adjusting and late clock game management, things like that. But that's never been a strong suit. And to see him being the only person blocking downfield when everyone else knew was a pass play isn't too surprising. Unfortunate, because I did want him. I called it when they were about to do that 99-yard drive that AJ would win it, but it went the exact other way, and sadly looked like he was a rotation of his neck away from winning the game. It's crazy.
yeah, because I think the ball was put on a good spot. It looked like if he would have literally turned his head, he could have caught the ball. I mean, the DB seemed like he didn't even really try to catch it. He just reached his arm out and it was thrown so well that it landed right in his hand. Like it was a perfect pick. He had one-on-one coverage. All he had to do was turn around, literally. I mean, it was it was as simple as that. I mean, like I said, oh, you guys didn't hear me say this, but before stream, I was saying I kind of wanted the Packers to win, but that is definitely not a way you want to lose a game if you're the Cardinals. The Cardinals did have 3 turnovers. I mean, Kyler Murray threw 2 picks. I know that last one wasn't really his fault, but I mean, anytime you're -3 in the turnover margin, you're bound to lose a game, especially against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it wasn't like Aaron Rodgers went out there today and lit up the world, but I mean, you can't. I mean, you got the stop. Like you got the goal line stand on fourth down. You drove 99 yards and you got all the way down the field. That got to be a tough way to lose. Like I watched the Steelers lose plenty of games where Ben throws a pick in the end of the end zone like that. Like Ben will drive us all the way down the field and then throw a pick to lose the game. Like so, I definitely know how painful that could be for some of these Cardinals fans, especially being your first loss of the season too. Like that's definitely not a way you want to lose your first game. But the Cardinals do lose, drop into 7-1. The Packers improve to 7-1 to kick off. What is it? Week 8 here, week 9 in the NFL. This kind of leaves me a question. Where do you think the top of the NFC kind of plays out now? I mean, we see the Cardinals lose now. I mean, one loss doesn't mean the Cardinals aren't the best or suck all of a sudden, but I think the Bucks, the Cards, the Packers, and the Cowboys right now all have a really solid chance at competing and maybe winning the NFC. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Pain. I feel for Kyler Murray right now, but I still think they're the best team in the NFC, by far as well. I do not think that the Bucks are healthy enough to really compete yet with the Cardinals for 4 quarters when DeAndre Hopkins is out there all game. And behind them, I have Dallas, to be honest. And I still believe Arizona's more talented than the Cowboys, but I still got them as my number one seed. I still think that they'll continue to roll. I mean, you see, they were, like I just said, a fade away from winning that game. They should have. It's Packers got bailed again. I
Yeah, they should have won
mean,
that game.
Packers remind me of the Ravens. They keep getting bailed and bailed and
That's a good
bailed.
take. That's an interesting
But
take.
but they're 7-1 now, which is crazy. They've won 6 straight games. Salute to them after getting packed up by New Orleans week 1 and embarrassed. So they're on fire. I mean, I'm not sure if they're the number one seed now in the NFC, but if they are, then congrats. But
Yeah, I'd assume it's probably the Packers now. Arizona definitely had the first seed, but I think now they're probably the two seed. But I mean, before the season, we only predict Arizona to lose what 2 games, and I think this is one of them that we predicted them to lose anyways. So in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you want to win every game you play, and like you said, when you get a chance like that to win the game, it sucks to see it slip away. But they definitely got a chance to bounce back next week. The Cardinals are still going to keep rolling. I definitely agree with that take. I think that's a great take. I still think they're the cream of the crop of the NFC, along like you said with the Cowboys, the Bucks, and I mean, I know you said the Packers are getting bailed out. I think that's definitely an interesting take, and if you want to expand on that, you can. But I don't know. I feel like the Packers they were without their top three wide receivers. No Devontae Adams tonight. Like their best corner, Jair Alexander, has been out the past 4 weeks. The Packers have been winning despite all the odds. And I mean, even before the season, we didn't even know if Aaron Rodgers was going to play for the Packers. We don't even know if right now he likes anybody in that locker room. He probably doesn't know who Aaron Rodgers is. But I mean, like you man, stop talking to his own family. I'm sure he don't talk to his teammates. Um, but I mean, you can't be too mad if you're a Cardinals fan. You just got to shake this one off. It sucks to see happen. You got a little bit unlucky at the end, but all in all, good game. And you got to think you lost by 3 points with 3 turnovers. So imagine they didn't turn the ball over 3 times and got points on those 3 extra possessions. They could have won this game by who knows how many points. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins
definitely,
got hurt a little bit, so this could have been a whole totally different game depending on the situation. But that's the beauty about football. Like any game, any situation on any given Sunday, anything can happen. And we saw it right there. It looked like the Packers were going to go in and put the game away. Cardinals got to stop. Looked like the Cardinals were going to put the game away. Packers going to stop. Like it just you never know. Devon Garland says I have the Cowboys or Bucks out of the NFC. I like that a lot. I think it's kind of hard to bet against Tom Brady. Um, I don't think I would ever in my entire life bet against Tom Brady, but I definitely think the Cowboys are a very, very solid team. They're built well. I think they don't have much
yeah,
weaknesses when it comes to
we,
players. Coaching
they're
personnel,
one of, if not the most well-rounded teams in the league.
for sure,
And when
for
you think
sure.
of age as well, they're definitely up there. So, I mean, Dallas, everyone's saying that everyone was favoring Dak to win comeback player of the year, and he's playing like it. I think him and Joe Burrow are really fighting for that award right now. But the Cowboys are definitely on fire. I mean, we'll see what they do next week.
For sure. Alpha Josh is
Like it'll
hopefully
be
Murray is good. Yeah, that was a little. I did notice that he was a little bit injured there by the end. Hopefully that's nothing too serious, but I mean, the way he fell on that third down scramble was definitely a little bit weird. So hopefully he's all right because you definitely don't want to see Kyler Murray get hurt into the future because I could definitely see that hurting the Cardinals a lot. Like I don't know who their backup is, but you can't really be affording to lose your quarterback at this point in the season, especially in the
Colt
division.
McCoy. Colt McCoy. So yeah, bro.
Nobody,
They'll end up picking number 10 overall if they
pretty
start that
much.
guy.
Um, Other than that, though, you got any last thoughts on that game? I do want to say though, real quick, these Thursday night games have been all right. I mean, there's been a lot of injuries, which sucks, and is probably still one of the main reasons not to keep the games going on Thursdays. But for the most part, like they've been entertaining this year. Like, and usually they're the worst games like of the week. They're not entertaining. They're the shitty teams. Like even the bad teams that play Thursday night, they've been good games. So can't hate on the product too much. Hopefully the players can be a little bit safer in the future with a game like this. Maybe they can move them to like Saturdays or something or something. I don't know what they can do, but um, the Thursday night games have been kind of delivering. I can't lie. Um, but let's switch over to what this show is really all about. Um, we are here to talk a little bit about some of these major college football matchups that are coming up. It's a big rivalry weekend where a lot of rivals are playing. We got Florida and Georgia playing. We got Penn State and Ohio State playing. Michigan State playing. A whole bunch of good games. Um, so let's get into it, my brother. Um, how you feeling going into Saturday about them dogs?
I mean, just another Saturday. This time, just not in Athens. I really do believe that. I know they lost to Florida last year, but I really do think that Kirby Smart and the entire program is on a mission this year. And Florida is not their goal. Their goal is not to beat the Gators. I think they will look at them as just another opponent and not force the game or treat the game like another championship or Super Bowl, because I think they could get lost in that. They're just putting too much emphasis on one game and not treating it like the rest. They may get antsy early. They might just, I think if they treat it just like any other week and prepare like they have been all year, that they'll be good and it'll be a different outcome. I'm expecting a huge game from their tight ends. Huge game.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is definitely one of the most focused teams I've seen out of Georgia. I feel like every year Georgia has that one letdown where they'll just lose to a team that they shouldn't. Um, and this year they haven't had that yet. They've beaten the crap out of all the teams they're supposed to beat. I mean, they beat Vandy by 60 points. They beat the eighth ranked Arkansas Razorbacks at the time by 37 points. Like they beat Clemson. Like they definitely seem to be locked in on a way bigger goal. This is definitely when it comes to the mentality of a team. This Georgia team definitely has one of the best mentalities I've seen out of any college football team in a long time. I mean, I know we have some of these Bama teams, and I know that the LSU team is pretty special too. But this Georgia team definitely has some of that make to it. I don't think the offense is on that level of those LSU and Alabama teams, so I don't think this team is as good as those teams. But I think that defense is probably good enough to kind of make up the difference, to be honest. And that's kind of where I want to. Actually, we can talk about the defense next. I want to start with the prospects of 4 quarterbacks being played on Saturday. Like there is a legitimate chance that we see 4 quarterbacks on Saturday. So I don't know for sure. You can confirm this or not, but I heard that it most likely will be JT Daniels starting, but Kirby said he plans to play both quarterbacks, whatever that means.
Yeah, basically what we've been seeing since Kirby's been at Georgia, a rotation of the number 1 and 2 guys at quarterback, just a matter of where they're at on the field. I feel like that number 2 guy comes in, whether it was uh, Jacob Eason, Justin Fields, this time Stetson Bennett. They usually come in around the 50-yard line, midfield, when Kirby feels like they can waste some plays and take some shots maybe. But I really just hope JT's fully healthy. And if he's not, then we'll have to see Stetson Bennett try and win that game. The question isn't really if Stetson Bennett can win the game. It's more so will his playmakers around him, you feel me, come to play and really carry him. We spoke about a topic that you had sent me off stream about not a defensive player. I think it was Brandon Cox. His time at UGA, he stated how he wasn't aware of how fast Stetson Bennett actually was and that he couldn't catch him. So anybody who's watched Georgia play and they've seen Stetson Bennett make those plays with his legs, then you should expect some more of that this weekend. But I definitely expect I expect a pretty even attack on offense, bro. Split carries and passes, like 30 passes, 30 runs, you feel me? Couple of touchdowns to the tight end. I do think it could be a game, but I just don't know if Florida has the playmakers for 4 quarters to compete with Georgia.
Oh, we got the playmakers.
And can they play? Well, I'm saying like now, can they play perfect? Because you guys can't turn a ball over. You can't give up huge plays on defense. I mean, Georgia's not going to be in a shootout.
Not giving up huge plays. That our defense is not going to stop you guys. For a fact, I already know that. Like I'm not counting on us. I think the way Florida wins this game is honestly just dominating the line of scrimmage, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Georgia's front 4 is one of the best. Georgia's front 7 is one of the best we've seen maybe ever. With guys like Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, other guys I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other names.
Adam Anderson, Nakobe.
Adam Anderson, Nakobe Dean.
The trenches.
Yeah. So
that's where I think they'll win the game. In the trenches
that's where I think the game will
on
be
the perimeter.
Because this year Florida is a run first team. Like everything that Florida does on offense is set up off of the run. Like if we're able to run the ball, then we can do play action, do play action. We can run the ball. Like that's just the way the Florida's offense goes this year. We do a lot of quarterback stuff, running between the tackles with our quarterbacks. So I definitely think that if we're gonna beat Georgia, we have to play football. Like we cannot hide. We cannot just like try not to run the ball because we know they have a Heisman candidate on the D line. Like we have to go and we have to just play Georgia man on man. Our guy has to get bigger than their guy. Like I know that sounds like a maybe not the best plan considering how talented a team like Georgia is, but I think that if we try to run away from our strengths because that's Georgia's strength, like I know a lot of people say attack weaknesses, but I also think it's valuable to attack strengths sometimes because a lot of teams that are good at things might not practice it or might not put a lot of effort or time or thought into it. For example, like Georgia's run defense, they're probably the best run defense. They are the best run defense in the country. One of the best run defenses, like I said, in a while. They set the edge better than anyone else in the country. Their interior defense is very stout, very strong. But if we don't try to attack that, we're not going to win with Emory Jones or Anthony Richardson throwing the ball 40 times. Like that's just not the recipe. That is not the recipe. So I think the Gators have to stick to their game plan on offense and do what they do. Play to their identity. Play to what their strengths are instead of trying to attack Georgia's weaknesses because that defense doesn't have much weaknesses. And if you're looking for Georgia to make mistakes on that side of the ball, you're not going to get many, if any at all. They might not make any mistakes. So I think Florida has to play a very, very crisp and executive style of a game plan for sure. We could switch up and do Florida's defense against Georgia's offense. I think Florida's defense is definitely trash, but it's shown up at random times this year. And it's not consistent enough where you can count on it on Sunday. I mean, we're going against the number one team in the country. Like, if you're not inconsistent, if you're inconsistent, you're probably not going to beat them. But I think that right now, on the outsides, I don't really fear Georgia that much. McCulley, I know they get not Trey Burton. What's his name?
Jermaine Burton. I'm not sure if he's
Jermaine Burton's
100%, bro. I don't think a lot of these receivers you'll see back aside from Big O, and he's a tight end, but I think at receiver you're gonna see a lot of guys you've been seeing all year. There's a possibility, like you said, Jermaine Burton takes some reps maybe, but I'm not sure that he'll fully be available. I think you're gonna see the same Kyrus Jackson, Arian Smith, Rosemary.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
But
you're gonna see
he's
this.
nice though.
Oh, Lat McConkey, freshman, white boy.
I call him Macaulay Culkin.
Our best. Their best players are young, bro. Bowers. Listen, if he continues to have the year he's having, he can win Heisman. I mean, holy that guy.
Yeah, no, he's
definitely
having
number
a hell of a
19
year.
this Saturday. Yeah, I mean, like that guy you mentioned, Lad McConkey, he's nice. I mean, but I just think that they got to win the game in the trenches and not even put the game in Stenson's hand. Have him be a game manager like Fromm was for so long at UGA, and just really stick to the script and get out of there clean and healthy. Don't treat this like that Super Bowl because you don't want to get carried away. You don't want to get players ejected. You don't want to get players hurt. I mean, you get out of there clean, you win in a dominating fashion, and you take care of business. I mean, I think the loss last year definitely is haunting Kirby. You feel me? He definitely wants to bounce back. I'd feel a lot more uncomfortable maybe this year if they had beat Florida last year, just because I know they'd be on a 4-game win streak. And that's obviously hard to do, beat the same team 5 times in a row, especially it being a rivalry like Florida. But the series has been reset now. It's 1-0. Y'all got the belt, but I really do think that Georgia should win this game by at least 14 to 17 points.
Well, right now the spread is at 14, so Georgia is a 14-point favorite. Most of the predictions I've been seeing a lot of like 34-17, 38-17, stuff like that, where Georgia wins by probably like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I definitely think a game like that is possible. I know Georgia has the most they've given up all year, I believe, is 13. I was listening to a podcast, and I think somebody was saying that 13 points all year. So
yeah, and they was supposed to be 6. I can't remember who it was.
Kentucky got a garbage time touchdown at the end.
Yep. They stole that. So it definitely screwed their average a little bit, but it is what it is. What's my question for you though, and the rest of like Florida's fan base is, what's your situation at quarterback? Will you
So
will we be seeing the same thing on both sides of the ball?
yeah, so
Rotation to two starting quarterbacks.
I believe that what Dan Mullen has been saying is that he's going to keep doing the same thing he's been doing, and a lot of people think he's just lying. He's like, oh, he's not. I was not going to give Kirby his game plan. He's not going to leak who the starting quarterback is. Um, but just knowing who Dan Mullen is and how ignorant and arrogant he is, and how he really just who he is, when he says something like that, like I know he's not lying. Like if he says he's going to keep doing what he's doing, the starting quarterback is probably going to be Emory Jones. Even though it probably should be Anthony Richardson, it'll probably be Emory Jones. We'll see Anthony Richardson. We'll see him out there. He'll get his runs. He'll drop back and throw the ball. He might get a drive or two, but I think it'll be like I was gonna ask you the same thing. I think it'll be like 70-30% split between like Emory with 70% and Anthony Richardson with 30% of the snaps. What do you think for Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels?
I'm actually gonna take the same approach and go 70-30 as well, but I think Stenson will play that 70%. I'm not sure about JT. I think they're resting him, to be honest, bro. I think that they want to have a full JT at the end of the season when they need him for that SEC chip, possibly, and that playoff run. And they know his future. I doubt that guy wants to have to stay another year if he can help his stock and go crazy the last 4 or 5 games of the year, because we all know what that'll do for you at a quarterback, especially at such a prestigious school. He can really help himself if he goes crazy at the end of the year and just stays patient and doesn't try and prolong this injury, you know? So I expect a lot of Stetson Bennett, a little bit of JT for precautionary reasons, but I definitely think it's the mailman's job this weekend.
Or I think that's a fair take. I'm pretty excited though. Like I said, there's definitely a chance we see four different quarterbacks in one game, and I don't know if I've ever seen a game where four different quarterbacks played not because of injury, but because that was part of the game plan. Like that's crazy. College football is definitely crazy. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think if Emory plays, I think we definitely unfortunately lose. I think Emory isn't a bad quarterback. Just I think he just lacks explosiveness and decisiveness, and you cannot be indecisive against Georgia. If you hold the ball for a second longer than you need to, if the ball is out of your hand a second later than it needs to, that shit is going for 60 other way. If you hold the ball or pump fake, you're gonna get sacked. Like we don't have we're not gonna have a lot of time to drop back and sit back there, 7 step drops, 9 step, like that's not going to be part of the game plan. Like we're not going to be able to do that. So I think that in order to get production on offense, I definitely think that Anthony Richardson is more explosive and has a chance to score faster. Like Anthony Richardson can lead a touchdown drive in 1, 2, 3 minutes. Emory Jones is a 5 minute man. Every time he has the ball, it's gonna take him 5 minutes to score. Like that's just what it is with Emory Jones. And I mean that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I mean sometimes you need those scores in those 1, 2, 3 plays where you see Jacob Copeland streaking down the sideline, or a guy like Justin Shorter going across the middle. I just feel like Emory fails to see that over and over. Or he just throws late. Like all his things that are on time and his best is that intermediate to short. But we need explosion. We need 20+ yard plays in order to beat Georgia, because I don't think we're going to be able to go 75 yards methodical down the field on Georgia. Like I mean, Dan Mullen is a great offensive coordinator, and I wouldn't be surprised because it's college football. These guys are kids at the end of the day, and Dan Mullen is literally the hacker. But I mean, I highly doubt that we're gonna go 4 quarters up and down on that Georgia defense. Like no matter who was out there. I mean, if we had Kyle Trask, Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts, all right, then maybe. But we don't got those guys this year, unfortunately
And
for us.
definitely, ain't no maybe. We've seen they couldn't listen. If even if they had ran it back last year, I still don't think with that offense Georgia would have been able to stop them.
That was a truly
I
special
mean,
offense.
we see what they're all doing in the NFL now in between those skilled players, Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts. So it was just unfair for Georgia. Eric Stokes was their only hope, and even now you can still see Eric Stokes showing his ass in the league. Still doing good. I mean, squad 71. He's contributed, obviously,
It's true. It's
but
true.
Last year, that's why I feel much better about this year's Georgia team than last year's. I mean, those playmakers are there at a young age, and we don't have to rely on Stenson to try and force the ball to Demetrius Robertson, bro.
Yeah, I think Florida's secondary has to have a big game. I think if we can make Georgia one dimensional and just make them have to run the ball, I think Florida's run defense is not bad. I think we can actually maybe not shut Georgia down. I mean, they have a chance, but I think they can handle Georgia's run game. It's just, are we gonna let Spencer Bennett, are we gonna let JT Daniel, whoever it is, go out there and look like Aaron Rodgers? Because if we do, we're gonna lose. If we have no pass rush, we're gonna lose. Like, even if we're stopping the run, if we cannot rush the passer, we're going to lose. We need a huge, huge game from the Florida D line. Even the linebackers. Our linebackers have probably been the weakest link. Our D line has been pretty good. Our secondary has been okay, but our linebackers have been pretty ass cheeks. So they got a big matchup with Kenny McIntosh is coming back. You got guys like Zeus that are already there. Brock Bowers, a tight end. That'll be some of our linebackers might have to guard in certain situations. So Mahmoud Diabate, all those guys in the middle, definitely got their work cut out for them this week. Let's get into some score predictions, though. Of course, I'm not going to go and pick against my Gators. I got my Gators, even though if I was a betting man, I don't know. I don't know if I would bet against Georgia right now, but I'm going to go with my Gators, and I'm going to say that we win this. Say we go 28-24, Florida.
I was gonna say that if Florida does win, it definitely has to be a game that goes down to the wire, and Georgia's just playing not to lose at the end.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be one of those games where they just got caught lacking, were punched in the mouth early, and like I said, they play not to lose, and just really try to catch up and get on the board as quick as possible.
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to say that's another key I have. Florida definitely has to get out to a fast start. We've seen in the past 3 years that they've played, Georgia got to a 14-0 start last year. 2 years ago, they were up 10-0, and the year before that, I think they went up like 17-0. So Florida definitely has to get out ahead early. Florida can get on the board, go up maybe 7-0 early. I definitely think that bodes very well for them because although they have shown they can come back, they came back against Alabama earlier this year. They lost, but they came back against LSU, another loss. But both, they showed a lot of fight and grit in those games. So it's not the end of the world if they get down, but you definitely don't want to be in that position at the against the University of Georgia this year at least. But go ahead, you can go and give your score prediction.
Yeah, I was actually gonna go 38-17. I think they only make one field goal. One field goal. I think they have about 4 PATs, and I think they have some pretty successful drives. I think you see around
Who do you think
5,
it's in the end zone? Give me a prediction for that.
touchdowns. Of course, Zeus. I think all year he's looked really good, really strong. He's been super healthy, and he's looked like he's only gotten better, which is he's one of the most deserving players on that team. So that's great to see. But I'm gonna go Zeus, Brock Bowers, and I want to get a defensive touchdown. I think that it's been a while since Georgia's had one this year, and that would really just kind of take all the momentum out that game, change up Florida's whole scheme, and really just pull away. So I'm gonna go Georgia 38-17 with, like I said, touchdowns to Brock Bowers, a defensive tug, and Zeus.
I like that. I'm looking for this game. Obviously Anthony Richardson to get involved. Hopefully we can see him for a majority of the game.
I don't know why he wouldn't, bro. I feel like that's it right there. That's the X factor.
Dan Mullen is the only person in America that doesn't understand that, bro. Dan Mullen is the only person in America who doesn't think Anthony Richardson should be the starter right now. It's crazy.
Man, you tell that guy to protect the football and do what he does,
we have a chance.
Like I said, you got Georgia playing not to lose because we've seen him plugged in this year. We seen when AR was plugged in this year against LSU.
Four straight touchdown drives. Crazy.
Granted, he didn't have a perfect game, but like I said, he was plugged in Death Valley. Come on, bro. Like he balled out. He balled out.
And that's my thing. Another thing about this is if AR is our quarterback of the future, right? If he's going to be our quarterback next year, right? Throw him into the fire. Like, even if we're not going to beat Georgia this year, let him get some experience against this Georgia defense. So next year, when we have a chance of actually competing for a national championship again, he has the XP. He has the experience. Like, he's not going to – I mean, he got some really good experience against LSU last week, or 2 weeks ago. So I'll give Dan Mullen credit for that because he pretty much played the whole second half. He didn't really split any reps that game, but um, I just want to see him more, man. I just want to see him more. But I think he could definitely has a chance to get loose. I got to see a big game from Jacob Copeland. I think he's far and away our best wide receiver. Um, he really only gets the ball thrown to him by Anthony Richardson. I mean, Emery would be looking at him, but for some reason it seems like AR and Cope have like a huge connection. So I hope to see them connect a few times. And Naquan Wright as well. One of our running backs had a big year against Georgia last year with the whole wheel routes, but that was all our running backs for the most part. But Naquan Wright, I think he has a chance to have a really big game and be a very special player. Also, let's give some love to Florida tight ends. I feel like Florida tight ends haven't been used that much this year in the game plan, and I feel like Dan Mullen has something in his back pocket where he's been not holding it on purpose, but where he's gonna definitely knows that maybe Georgia isn't trying to stop Kimori Gamble or somebody like that who's not really who's really not that big of a part of our game plan, but who could still be a impact player for us. So definitely want to see if Florida can get their tight ends involved because it has not been the same since Kyle Pitts. And I know that obviously no one was going to be Kyle Pitts, but it would have been nice to still see some decent production out of that position. But seems like right now they're much more focused on blocking and stuff like that. So maybe we can get the tight ends involved a little bit more in the pass game and catch Georgia off guard by doing something like that. But if you have any last thoughts on this game, you want to go ahead and give them now?
Um, I don't. I guess I can use this opportunity though to transition into possibly another upset. This one's a little off the grid, but I don't think that Georgia loses any regular season games this year. However, if they do, I think it would be to a Florida and Jacksonville. Like I said, with AR plugged in, backup quarterback, their success against Georgia. Or, listen, bro, I haven't even had told you this before, but I think Tennessee could catch him this year, bro. I was talking off camera, my boy, and I'm like, listen, bro, this is the best Tennessee's been in like 10 years.
That is a fact. They are nice. They are nice.
And their ability to stretch the field this year.
That offense is crazy. They play so fast, bro. It's like
that's what I'm saying, bro. That's how I think Florida needs to play, and they have the playmakers to do so. So if they play fast, they don't give Georgia a chance to make these subs and switch and really just apply pressure and reset. If they don't give them that chance, and they can stretch the field and just they keep that chemistry going and be consistent with that type of hurry up offense, and I think that Florida has a chance. But that's Tennessee's identity, and I think that they really could. This could be the year that they get the dogs back.
That is actually a pretty interesting take now that you say that.
And Georgia's away, so it's going to be loud.
Yeah, Rocky Top.
Yeah, bro. It's going to be towards the end of the year. They'll most likely be undefeated, so that's definitely got to be a game Georgia looks out for because they want to control their destiny.
It's true. And I mean, I said it earlier, Georgia always has that one game every year. It seems like they just slip up for some reason. And if it were to be a game, it like you said, it'd either be Florida or possibly a team like Tennessee. Yeah, so
if that game's at like 8 p.m. or something, you feel me? Georgia's used to knocking everybody off early. They've been sitting around all day. They just want to play Tennessee. Not sure what they're in for. Like you said, they play fast, bro. They'll really wear down a team like Georgia. Even though they have great depth, they can wear down a team like Georgia for 4 quarters.
Yeah. One last thing I also want to bring up is I'm always excited to watch the coaching matchup too. Kirby Smart versus Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen has been a little bit under some scrutiny recently. Maybe he's not the guy that we thought he was, but I think as an offensive play caller, he's proven that he is that guy. As a head coach, I guess he definitely has a lot of question marks around him in that area, but as an offensive mind, I think he's definitely one of the top in the country. So I always love to see a guy like that go against a great defensive mind like Kirby Smart. Although I heard that Kirby hasn't really had his hand that much in the defense this year. It's been a lot of Dan Lanning. Dan Mullen versus Dan Lanning. That'll be an interesting little matchup to watch this year just to see from a scheme perspective and stuff like that. But let's talk a little bit about this Michigan State game. I think this is probably going to be the other game of the week. I definitely think Ohio State and Penn State has potential to be good. But Penn State kind of got knocked off last week by Illinois, which kind of killed the hype a little bit from this one. I'm sure once the game kicks off and everybody starts playing, the hype will be built back up. But this Michigan State game, man, I mean, it has potential to be the best
Banger
one we saw in a while.
for sure. Sadly, bro, listen, I picked MSU Junior to go 0-12 this year. Definitely, obviously not happening. They're doing the exact opposite. But I think that they get it done. Are they in Ann Arbor? Where's this game at?
I don't actually know, but I can find out.
It's in East, like, wherever that is.
East Lansing.
MSU
East
Juniors, yeah,
Lansing. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
home though. Um, yeah, I like them to win that game, definitely. Like I said, I had them going 0-12. They completely proved me wrong. They came out to hoop this year. Kenneth Walker is looking like a Heisman finalist, going crazy. I think he wins them this
Easily.
game, plain and simple. It's college football. You can outrun and out physical a lot of people on the field. And when you're that dominant at a running back, if he can get those blocks, and they could really win that game just running the ball, to be
I will say
honest.
though, Michigan can do the same exact thing. I think Michigan is three deep in running backs. I think they were through the first 5 or 6 weeks one of the best rushing teams in the nation. I don't know how they've been faring
Yeah,
the past few weeks, but I think Michigan can definitely do something very similar as well.
definitely. I think that they have great running backs as well, but still, I think Kenneth Walker still has that home run ability like no other in that game.
For
So
sure. Anytime he touches the ball, he can score. It's a special ability to
yeah,
have. It's kind of similar to like Kadarius Toney, like it's like a home run threat, like literally like a power hitter who can literally hit a home run, hit a grand slam anytime he goes up to bat. It's kind of terrifying to.
yeah, that's definitely gonna be him versus what's his Hassan Haskins, I think is his name, right? There's
Yeah,
another
like I
dude.
said, they got a few. They got a
Yeah,
few running backs at Michigan. My take for this game is I think it's gonna be a very high scoring game. Like I think it's gonna be no defense. Like both teams will be in the 30s, 40s. It's gonna be a wild, wild game. All offense. I think both of these offenses are pretty high powered. I think Michigan State's defense might be a little bit more. Uh, they play together better than Michigan's defense, but I think Michigan's defense is more talented. So I think as a unit, I give the edge to Michigan State, but as the individuals, I give the edge to Michigan. So like I really think this is a pretty crazy matchup. One of a very very fun rivalry matchup for sure, especially from an outside perspective where I'm not a fan of either of these two teams. Like this is gonna be a dope game. Do you know what time it's at? Are we gonna miss it? Unfortunately, I hope that's a night game.
um, noon, and it's actually yeah,
Yeah,
it's
noon's
at
not
noon.
not
So
bad.
we'll catch about the
Pretty much the whole game.
yeah, first 3.5 quarters, I
Uh,
would say.
Continuing though into another. Actually, real quick, let's give our predictions to that game. Go ahead, and give me a quick score prediction. I know you said that you probably are favoring Michigan State, so let's throw a score out there.
I'm gonna go Michigan State 21, Michigan 20.
I
Not
like
too high of a scoring game, but definitely, you feel me, a fun game to watch.
for sure. And I'm gonna go. Like I said, I think it's gonna be very high scoring. So I'm gonna go something like Michigan State 38, Michigan 35. I think Michigan State will probably win the game as well. Um, Although it's going to be a good one. It's definitely going to be a good one. Uh, Continuing along, though, in the Big Ten, staying in the Big Ten, we got Ohio State and Penn State getting ready to battle this weekend. And like I said, although Penn State did just lose last weekend to Illinois in that crazy 9 overtime game, they're still a solid school. They were literally a week ago in contention to make the playoffs. So Ohio State definitely has to bring their A game. I think it's going to be one of the toughest tests they had all year, especially since the Oregon game.
Yeah, I really do hope that Penn State can bounce back and put up a fight against OSU.
Yeah,
Simply
I
for
can
the
see this one
fact
getting ugly.
because, yeah, you took the words out of I was gonna say. That's why I said put up a fight because it's either that or CJ Stroud is on the bench in the beginning of the third quarter
Yeah,
because he threw
because
for 5 touchdowns.
James Franklin already seems to be kind of checked out. He doesn't seem like he'll be the coach at Penn State much longer. It kind of seems like he's already has his eye on that USC job or another job potentially. It just doesn't really feel like Penn State has a lot of fight left after that loss. It just seems like they kind of just packed it in. James Franklin kind of just dissociated and was like, you know what, like it is what it is. He's just here for so you don't get fined. So I don't know how inspired or how passionate Penn State will come out. I think if they come out fired up and they come out, like Hassan said, ready to play, I think they definitely do have a chance in this game. Just, I mean, they're very talented. Like I said, all up until last week, they were considered one of the best teams in the nation. And losing a game in 9 overtimes doesn't really change that. But I mean, you just got to think how they're going to bounce back emotionally, mentally from a game like that, especially when you have to play an opponent like Ohio State the week right after. And Ohio State has been murdering everybody since losing to Oregon. I mean, we thought maybe Ohio State would kind of go out sad like Clemson did this year, possibly, but no, they've bounced back strong. Ryan Day's squad has shown a lot of resilience after dropping that game to Oregon early. So I definitely want to give them props for that because I didn't really see that coming. I don't think I was one that expected them to be as bad as Clemson, but I thought that maybe they lose to 2, maybe 3 games this year. But it doesn't seem like that is on the cards for them. It looks like another 11-1 playoff appearance possibly for the guys over there at Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping that everybody in front of them wins out. That being Bama, Georgia, Cincy, and OU, because they don't really have a reason to, you feel me, lose again. And I think if any of them were to lose again, hopefully it would be Georgia or Bama. Therefore, they would still remain in that top four, leaving Ohio State out of the playoffs.
I mean, I could definitely see a world where they do miss the playoffs. I mean, that loss to Oregon is kind of hard to overlook considering it also was at Ohio Stadium. Like, Oregon traveled across the country and beat you in your own trap. Like, it's not a bad loss because
And you had a year
Oregon's a
to
good
prepare
team,
for
but I
that
mean,
game.
it's a loss, you know? So
And you had a
definitely,
year to prepare for that.
yeah. So let's give some quick score predictions for this one. Um, I just think Penn State has to show up ready to play. If they show up flat, they're gonna get blown out. I'm gonna go 28-14, 28-17, something like that, where it's not too big of a win, but I think Ohio State will win kind of handily. Like it won't be a blowout, but it won't be that close. You?
I'm gonna go 41-21 Ohio State. I want Penn State to come out and put up a fight, but we might have 2 top 15 receivers on that offense at Ohio State with a potential professional quarterback under that center. So I just don't think Penn State can really match up, honestly, bro. If Ohio State can play not even perfect football, but sound and clean. I mean, if CJ Stroud has time, bro, there's no reason they actually low-key can't lose. You feel me?
I definitely
So
agree. I
I'm gonna go,
definitely
like I
agree.
said, 41-21. I think that they pull away late or early,
Okay.
depending on Penn State's ability to fight. But I like Ohio State at least by 20.
Okay. Let's speed run through some of these other uh, games and other teams really quick. Just ones that catch my eye. Team that we both have been keeping a pretty close eye on this year is Pitt. Um, they take on Miami at Heinz Field this Saturday at noon. Um, Pitt is coming off of a huge win over Clemson last week, a dominating win where Kenny Pickett looked like a Heisman favorite, a Heisman finalist. Um, Pitt looks like a very, very solid all-around team this year, but a tough test coming in Miami. I mean, Miami isn't the Miami of old. They're definitely not the best team in the ACC, but they've showed some fight in the past few weeks. They got a win last week. They got some talent. It is the University of Miami. Like, it's not a walk in the park. How do you feel Pitt and Miami, how that game plays out? I think you're muted though, bro. Can't hear you.
My bad. I was gonna say I think it could be a trap game for Pitt, but it won't. Pitt has to understand that they can't get complacent, especially coming off that win against Clemson, having a Heisman favorite in Kenny Pickett, and just being one of the hottest teams in the country right now. Can't be complacent knowing you're going against a weak Miami team that's still in your conference. So you want to have that respect for them and still remember that, you feel me? They're recruiting from some of the same areas you are. They might know some guys you play with. But I just think that if Pitt,
Yeah,
I don't know,
I
bro.
like
I
Pitt in
just,
this one too. I think if
yeah,
they play their best game, if
I
they play their game, Miami should not be able to beat them.
definitely just don't try and get greedy against Miami is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You feel me?
Don't push your luck. Yeah, you got to respect
Definitely.
them, but you should win. They definitely should win. I agree. We have number 9 Iowa visiting Wisconsin. That game is also at noon. That'll be on ESPN. Uh, saw Iowa lose to Purdue. Don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Now they're going to go and face a tough Wisconsin team. I mean, Wisconsin is not the Wisconsin that we've grown to know and love over the past maybe decade, where they're usually on the top of the Big Ten West. But I mean, they're still able to run the ball, still got a good offensive line, still got a good defense. Kind of struggling in the quarterback department this year, which is why they haven't gotten as many wins as maybe they should have. But definitely still a formidable team. How do you think Iowa and Wisconsin shakes out? I think it'd be an interesting game. It's a Big Ten game. Big Ten's been pretty good this year.
I'm gonna go with Iowa though. Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely think Iowa should win that game, but on the road, in an environment like Wisconsin, which usually their fans show up, good or bad, I think Wisconsin definitely has a chance to pull up an upset tomorrow. Um, we got Texas visiting Baylor. Some Big 12 action going on. Baylor's ranked 16. Do you see Texas maybe potentially getting an upset tomorrow?
Say that again, bro. My fault.
You straight. Texas is visiting Baylor. Baylor is ranked number 16 right now. Um, Texas has been playing decent football. Do you think they have what it takes to pull up an upset against Baylor this weekend?
Mm, Texas beating Baylor would be the upset just because they're ranked.
I mean, that is interesting. I mean, technically, yeah, but you're right. Baylor and Texas do seem like similar level programs at this point in time.
So I'm looking at Baylor's schedule right now. I see they have convincing wins over ranked BYU at 25, Iowa State, who was ranked 22. That's really it. And then they have dominating wins against Cupcake. So it looks like they are a pretty hot team. They
I
have a
watched them play last week, and I will say that they did look pretty good. They looked like they were at least well rounded. Like they didn't look like their
I was
offense
gonna
might not be
say,
as explosive, but their defense is pretty good, and their offense was able to move the ball. So
yes, they laid one egg against Oklahoma State week 4, it looks like. I'm sorry, week 5. They lost 14-24, but yeah, they do look pretty well rounded. Although I'm not sure who they have capable of really stopping Texas skill
Texas,
players. I mean,
yeah, I think I like Texas on the upset for this game. I think
definitely.
Baylor's a good team though. I don't think it's going to be a easy game. I could definitely see Texas getting blown out. I'm not going to lie. That game will be on ABC at noon. We got Rutgers visiting Illinois. Not a big game, but we like to talk about Rutgers. They have not been playing good football the past few weeks. I think though that they can bounce back and definitely get a win over Illinois. Art Sikowski got hurt last week, and he was already the backup quarterback. So I think they're down to their third string quarterback. I definitely think Rutgers is good enough to beat Illinois on their third string quarterback. I mean, I don't know for a fact if that's who's playing, but I think that is what will be going on. Um, what else do we have here? We have Washington State visiting Arizona State at 3. How do you think that game fares? I think Arizona State should probably win that pretty easily.
Definitely. I mean, I'm an ASU homer, so I'm gonna go Forks up, my boy. They gotta bounce back. They lost. They should be undefeated. I'm not sure what's going on. In college football is more fun than it is. Uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Um,
Strategic, I'd say.
Professional.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like the NFL, obviously, like you feel me. It's a way different game. But I think college football, like I said, as an athlete and playmaker, you're able to outrun and out physical and really outmatch a lot of these guys. So strategy can go out the window sometimes when you can just dominate every single play. And ASU has the ability to do that. They have playmakers like that, bro. They're not on the map yet like they should be, but they got the players to do that. So I'm not sure why they struggle like they do.
Could be a
However,
coaching
I like
thing.
them to take possibly. Although I think they should take care of Wazoo.
I agree. I agree. Let's see what else we got here. We got Florida State visiting Clemson, and if you would have looked at this game at week one, you would have been like, "This is not a good game. Why are you guys mentioning this game? Clemson's going to blow Florida State out." But if you've been watching college football up until this point, you have seen that Clemson is not good. That offense is absolutely horrendous, and Florida State has been playing its best football it's been playing all year, these past couple of weeks. So I definitely think this game has potential to get scary for Clemson. But I will
Yeah,
never,
that would
ever,
be
ever
a
choose Florida State to win a game. So Clemson by 50.
bro. Well, first of all, we can start talking about where's Dabo headed next if they lose
Wait,
this week.
you think so? They
I
signed him to like a
mean,
didn't they sign him to like a 10-year contract?
I
9
I
years,
said we
something?
could be talking, not
Okay.
like
Okay.
that would just be what's going on in the air because you feel me? We'd be discussing whether he's going to Dallas, if he's still want to stay in college, this, and that. Clemson's reign is over. I mean, everybody would be trolling for that weekend. However, they can't afford to lose to Florida State. Regardless of them being unranked, how the season's going this year, that would just be demoralizing. Everyone knows where FSU is as a program, and you just don't want to be that guy to let them. You just lost to Pitt. I'm sure. I believe they have like a 7 or 8 game. I don't mark my words, but it was a impressive win streak over Pitt, and that was broken this year. In addition
Yeah,
to
they should be
losing
pissed.
the
They should
most
be pissed.
important game of the year, like you can't lose all your important games this year in addition to your least important games. Can't do that.
I definitely agree. Yeah, you guys heard it here first, folks. Losing is bad. Don't think I've ever heard that one before, right? Nah. But yeah, I definitely like Clemson in that game as well. They should definitely go into that game pissed off, playing with a chip on their shoulder. But as well, Florida State will also be playing pretty hard. So, um, any other games on the radar here? Yes, an SEC matchup that I think is pretty interesting. We got number 10 ranked Ole Miss on the road traveling to my city of Auburn to take on the 18th ranked Auburn Tigers. I think that'll be a pretty interesting game, to be honest. I think both of these teams are playing decent football. Ole Miss is playing really good football, but even Auburn, although they lost to Penn State, although they lost to Georgia, Brian Harsin has Auburn competitive in most games. I know Georgia's beat them pretty easily, but Georgia's beating the shit out of everybody, right? So that doesn't matter. But I think Auburn has a very good chance at winning this game this coming Saturday. I think Ole Miss is definitely the better team, but if Auburn, if Bo Nix, I mean he's always the key. If Brother Nix shows up, and I think if he can match the scores, because Ole Miss's offense is incredible. They're gonna go in Auburn and they're gonna score 30-something points. So it's up to Auburn.
For sure.
It's up to Auburn to score that many points. So I think if Bo Nix does play well, which he has a few times this year, they have a chance to win that game. But I think that's the key to this game for me, at least. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on it.
No, I agree. I think Ole Miss has an identity and they're comfortable with their as well Heisman quarterback, Matt Corral.
Future Pittsburgh
Like they're
Steelers.
gonna go. I hope not. I really hope not. Because he gets rid of the ball quick, and that's what we don't need in Pittsburgh. We need someone who's gonna hold on to that ball and take sacks like Ben, and not know where he's going. Because Matt Corral, he has good mechanics. He has really good mechanics.
He's a very good quarterback for sure. You want to give a prediction?
Yeah,
Who you like, Ole Miss or Auburn?
I like Ole Miss over Auburn. Like you said, I could see it being a shootout. I mean, that's Ole Miss's type of game. They haven't really been known to keep their foot on the gas in addition to blowing you out. You feel me? They usually just go back and forth, but I like Ole Miss. I'm going to go 33-21, Ole Miss.
I like that. I definitely I think the margin will be something similar to that. I think Ole Miss does wind up winning by probably 10 to 14 points. I think there's a chance, obviously, that they blow Auburn out just because of the massive firepower they have on offense, and there's a chance that we can see Brother Nick's turn into old Brother Nick's and implode, throw 3 picks, 4 picks like he's done before. But I think it'll definitely be a competitive game for the most part. But I think maybe Ole Miss kind of pulls away towards the end or something like that. Maybe a key stop or interception happens like in the third quarter that kind of puts the game in an advantageous position for Ole Miss or something like that. But either way, I think they get this victory over Auburn. And then last game, I want to get your thoughts. We got UNC traveling to take on Notre Dame, the 11th ranked Fighting Irish in South Bend at Notre Dame. What are your thoughts on this game? Because
it's going to be a good game. I think it has to be. Notre Dame's worse than they were in a long time, and UNC's been extremely disappointing this year. So
extremely,
they look to be in the same weight. Yeah, bro. They look to be in the same weight class.
Yeah, I mean,
Bantam.
I will give
Women's
I'll give a little bit more
weight.
respect to Notre Dame than maybe you did. I definitely think Notre Dame is still the same old Notre Dame that we all know and love, but they have shown some fight this year. They have got some good wins. They got that tough loss to Cincinnati too. So also a little bit disappointed to see them lose that game. But Cincy is a very good team. Obviously, they're ranked second, third in the country. But I agree. I think UNC should be playing pretty pissed off after that loss last week. I think they definitely have a shot to win this game. But I am going to go with Notre Dame to close this out. I think just them being at home, and I think they are the better team. I don't think they might be miles and miles better than UNC, but like you said, UNC has been very, very disappointing. And you know, Sam Howell can always turn it on and go out there and throw 5-6 touchdowns. That is definitely an option, but I don't know if I see that happening. Maybe not this week.
Nah, I agree. I mean, thoughts and prayers to anybody who's put money on UNC football this year. I'm gonna send them your way because you definitely
thoughts and
need
prayers
them.
for real. But with that being said, we are going to close out this edition of the Pigskin. Thank you to anybody and everybody who did tune in to the stream earlier. Thank you to anybody who's watching this on YouTube tomorrow. We really appreciate all the love. Do not forget to follow us here on Twitch, subscribe to us on Twitch, also like, comment, and subscribe on all of our YouTube videos. It really helps the channel grow. Make sure to follow us on our social media. We will be having our next drop announced very, very soon. So if you're looking to get any new gear or merchandise soon, stay tuned to our Instagrams for that. Haas, any last words or statements before we head out of here?
Nothing but who they and go dogs.
You already know the vibes. Here at the Pigskin, we will catch you guys again. Don't know. Saturday, Sunday? We'll see. Peace.
This weekend.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
That'll be good.